Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon. For Tuesday, Jeffrey Combs. Welcome. Good to have you here. Word is Law, Mastering Self-Talk. It's a privilege and pleasure to be here with you on Tuesday, August 23rd. Welcome. It is my privilege and pleasure. Consciousness. I know, I understand, I am aware, and I trust. Welcome, everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure to be here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon as we're wrapping up the summer. I live in Stockton, California, the beautiful San Joaquin Valley, where it stays warm year-round, and it is a 100-degree day or so. So good to be here with you. I'm going to let the Facebook Live populate. Getting ready for today's Facebook Live. I'll be covering some content from this book right here, The Power of the Spoken Word. Josh Shea, good to see you this afternoon. Bingham Green, welcome to Facebook Live today. If this is your first Facebook Live and you like the content, feel free to hit the like button. Good to see you, everyone. It is an honor to be here. Wojo, good to see you. Good to see all of you this afternoon. Tracy Williford, I cannot wait to coach you next week. A lot of head swiveling content is being delivered to me. So good to see everyone this afternoon. Let's move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. Roger Johnson, good to see you. John Lundberg, long-term friend and client, as are many of you. Paul Hagedorn, Wojo, long-term client. Tracy Williford, long-term client. John Lundberg, Scott Lucas, long-term client. Many of you I have known for 5, 10 years or more. Brenda, good to see you. Congratulations on all of your successes, all of you. Congratulations on your recovery. Congratulations on being here this afternoon. Amy, good to see you. Topic for today's Facebook Live is mastering self-talk. What do you say when you say to yourself? Shed Helmstetter wrote a book in the late 80s, and the question that he wrote in the book was, what do you say? What do you say when you talk to yourself? Well, your self-talk will determine your actions or your inactions. Word is law. Words do not return void. This is a book written in 1940, The Power of the Spoken Word, 74 pages, written by Florence Scovel Shinn. She actually never sat down and wrote that book. That is a collection of her writings that were put together after her death. Her first book was called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And that book was a game-changing book for me because in chapter 3 is Word is Law. Words do not return void. I first read that book in 1990 and I began to change the way I communicated with myself. At the time, I was 2.5 years clean and sober. So I was going to 12-step meetings. I was in sobriety. I was in recovery, but I wasn't in any conscious awareness at that point. And letting go to me back then meant let go and let God, which in context, I was practicing that, but I wasn't really letting go. I had let go of alcohol, but I had not let go of the feelings that I was holding on to, and my self-talk was filled with a lot of indecision, non-commitment. I was committed to my program, but I wasn't committed to building a business yet. I wasn't committed to living my best self. I wasn't committed to my dreams. I was just coming off of 14 years drug, alcohol, sex, and codependent addictions. And as I stepped into the year 1991, I started to change the way that I communicated with myself. So for those who've coached with me, I will point out that you're saying kind of in your sentences, guess in your sentences, and I don't know. Those are the most prevalent words that most of the world uses to stay in anxiety, fear, and doubt. Kinda, kinda, is not even a word. It's a derivative of the two words kind of, which in context means nothing in a sentence. So when you're going to kind of do something, or you guess you'll do it, what you're saying into the universe is that you're not. And when you tell yourself you need to do something, well, you're not really committing. When you're committed, you're committed. I asked someone today what their sober day was. Their answer was, And I said, well, your sober day was 2 weeks ago today. So that was September 9th. That was August 9th. Word is law. I've asked many people their sober day and their first sound out of their mouth is means that they're not really practicing emotional sobriety. Emotional sobriety means you have a commit day. You commit to changing the quality of your emotional feelings. You commit to letting go of any outside influences that continue to rob you of being your best self. If you're a procrastinator, an avoider, you start to have back-to-back days of recovery. You follow through on your word. But if your word doesn't mean anything, then you'll just wing it, and that's what many people do. This is why many people miss appointments, why they're late, why they don't follow through. It's the good intention, poor delivery syndrome that so much of the world lives in. I want to acknowledge a few people who have joined here this afternoon. Ryan McMullen, Barbara Williams, one of my longest standing clients, being my client going back to 1999. Jimmy Green, who is a longtime follower. Aaron Knight, who had the privilege of coaching for 3 years. And Vivian Lee has joined here this afternoon. And Richie Fox has joined me also. So thank all of you today. The topic for today's Facebook Live is mastering self-talk. What do you say when you talk to yourself? Are you kind to yourself? Are you critical of yourself? Are you overwhelmed, or are you in consciousness? Do you communicate in clarity, or do you communicate in a mixed message? Well, that is for you to determine, and that is for you to be your best self. And the more that you can give that energy of love, joy, and bliss. Now, in today's world, right now, if you're consciously aware, if you're patriotic, if you have strong values, you know what's going on. You know that this is the most challenging time, not only in American history, but world history. You feel the wolf at the door. You understand that there's trauma-based mind control going on. You understand that there's a lot going on every single day, and there's many head-swiveling moments. And there are more and more people that are writing the truth as they feel and see it. I've never seen more truthers on Instagram than I have in the last few months. I've never seen more content available that I've been studying for 40 years, but it's yet next level content. It's actually very liberating for me to see people speaking the truth, which is word, which is self-talk. But if you're living in denial, you're lying to yourself. You're continuing to recreate the same situation over and over to fulfill the same set of feelings that keep you overwhelmed, emotionally intoxicated, not being your best self, avoiding living your dreams, avoiding building a business, avoiding owning the house that you're capable of. It keeps you from avoiding being a real estate investor, an insurance agent, a direct salesperson, an entrepreneur, a home-based business owner. It keeps you safe and disappointed from the relationships you're capable of. And when you tell yourself, the biggest lie you will tell yourself is that you are not good enough. And when you begin to let go of those feelings associated with those words of not being good enough. Kayla, good to see you. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. So once again, the greatest lie that you will tell yourself is that you are not good enough. Where does that come from? It comes from the events that shapes your feelings. It comes from growing up an adult child of narcissistic parents. It comes from growing up with being an adult child of alcoholics. It comes from growing up in households and playgrounds where you're guilted and you're shamed and you're told you're not attractive, you're overweight, you're called names, you're singled out, you're picked last in sporting events, you're picked last, teachers that tell you that you have ADD issues or you're a slow learner or you get held back in classes. It comes from mean girls and mean boys singling you out in the corner and traumatizing you. It comes from trauma, sexual abuse, and other abuses that you had endured as a child, so by the time you're 18 years old, you have no esteem and you are not good enough. And stuffing your feelings and holding on to feelings becomes a way of life. And then most of the world lives in a short breast syndrome. They're holding on to this anxiety, and they're 20, 30, 40, 50, and then all of the events that have shaped your feelings that keep you not feeling good enough, well, we recreate them to fulfill the neurochemical craving that we are emotionally addicted to. That is called a payoff. And that payoff that so many people recreate becomes an identity. And this is why the possibility of having a healthy relationship will be contradicted because they can't let go of the dysfunctional relationship they're in because they're not sure if they could be alone. That's a commonality. Many people will stay in dysfunctional relationships and dysfunctional careers and jobs because they're not sure if they can find a better career or a better job, or they're not sure if they can be alone. And so bad love is better than no love. A bad job is better than a no job. And that is what so many people transmute their feelings from. And if this is you, today is a great day to practice a day of recovery. So if this is your start date, if this is your day of recovery or your elevated day of your sobriety, well then count it. And that would be August 23rd, the year of our Lord, 2022. It's not only a great day to be alive, but it's a great day in world history to be your best self, because it's going to require it of you. The situation is not going to get better, and no one is coming to save us. And it doesn't matter what political party you're in or who you believe in, it's really going to come down to you. Are you good enough? And if you're not good enough, then you'll accept what others dish to you. As you become good enough, you can create the outcome that you desire. You can live your dreams. You can be able to access your highest self. That's called consciousness. Your word choices: I know, I understand, I am aware, I am good enough. These are affirmations you begin to speak into existence. I attract to my reality quality, like-minded success seekers. I am very skilled at attracting a soulmate or a teammate. I am committed to attracting like-minded people that I can collaborate and partner with. I am very skilled at attracting employees, teammates, soulmates. These are words. Words are law. But if your words are indecision, if your words are indecisive, if your words are non-committal, if your words are kinda, sorta, I guess, and I don't know, well, you'll continue to attract the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. If you're always letting go, if that's your words, if that's your affirmation, I am always letting go. But if your words are, I'm frustrated, it was a frustrating day, it was disappointing, I got my ass kicked, I can't believe it, I don't understand this, why does this happen to me? If that's your words, you'll continue to live in denial. You'll continue to attract the same situations over and over. You'll continue to stuff your feelings with drugs, alcohol, pharmaceutical medication, and other situations that keep you perpetuating the same set of feelings. Those feelings are called apathy, rejection, abandonment, and grief, the lowest levels of transmutation that you're actually sending your message. And when you're vibrating, transmuting from low levels of consciousness and energy, you're going to attract people who believe what you believe, and they believe that you're not good enough. And you'll attract those people. You'll attract those employees, those teammates, those buyers, those clients who won't pay you, who won't show up, who don't show up on the job site, who don't follow through. The vendors who say, I'll be there at 2 o'clock, and they aren't here at 2 o'clock because you don't confront the situation and ask yourself, not why is this happening to me? I know this is happening to me, and I will create the outcome. I will change the energy. I am committed to changing my life. Affirmations, speaking into existence, reality to manifest a new set of circumstances. But if you continue, your self-talk continues the same self-talk that you're overweight in, overwhelmed in, you're going to continue to create the same situation. And the most common words that rob people of this life they deserve is called, yeah, but. Yeah, but you don't understand. Yeah, but my situation's unique. Yeah, but this always happens to me. Yeah, but that's how so many people communicate. And people say things to me like, well, it's easy for you. Well, actually, it wasn't. I was an addict for 14 years. I ended up in a heroin alcohol clinic in a wheelchair weighing 114 pounds when I was 31 years old. 31 years old, 17 days and 11 months. That's where I was. So it's not that it was easy for me. My journey was my journey. Your journey is your journey. And it's either challenging, difficult, or hard, or you can start to live in a level of ease. I want to show you some affirmations I wrote just this week. So I reached out to a client of mine. So John McFadden, good to see you. Susan Dampier, love you, Susan. Aaron Knight, thank you for being here on today's Facebook Live. So I reached out to a client of mine. I was actually coaching a client of mine, and she's a muscle tester. Now, in muscle testing, in kinesiology, muscle kinesiology testing, the body doesn't lie. There are many chiropractors that do it, and it means that you can test your body with certain situations, and your body will either reject it and or accept it. So I spoke to one of my clients who assisted me with a muscle testing situation, and what happened was she read me a series of, she did a muscle testing reading on me, and this was the reading she sent me, and this was on Thursday, and this would happen at 9 o'clock Pacific. And then after the session, I wrote this right here. I took my 12-step chip right here. This is my original chip from 12 steps. From this, I received this chip on January 18th, 1989, exactly 30 days after my first 30 days of recovery. I put it right here on my piece of paper like this, and I drew a circle around it, and then I wrote these words down below it: synchronicity, ease, easy, flow, prosperity, value, service, let go, consciousness. Then I wrote my wife's name, Jana Ina, and then I wrote my name right there. So these are words that I wrote down after receiving that content from my client, Cara DeChico Sandre. Cara's a remarkable woman. I've been her coach for 5 years, and she specializes in food allergies. So and other situations with children. She's very, very skilled at assisting people with gut issues, food allergies, and other issues and other diseases of the body. So I had her do a 10-minute reading on me. I wrote down these words, and then within 24 hours, a different set of leads begin to show up. Now, because I believe they were going to show up, and I believe what I believe, then I'm going to attract what I believe. And so if you believe that life is hard and challenging, if you believe you can't attract a man or a woman to be your date, mate, or soulmate, or if you believe that you can't attract people that you can build a business with, or that's hard and difficult, because when it's hard and difficult, you're in force. And when you don't have a structure, a routine, or a system, then you're going to wing it. And if you're winging it, well, it's just the helter-skelter situation. That is a whole nother rabbit hole story. If I went down the rabbit hole of helter-skelter and what I found in that whole situation, that would be fascinating. And so once you start to understand this, the truth, once you lift the veil, and you lift that veil of what's going on in the world. See, many people go, oh, I can't go down that rabbit hole. I get overwhelmed. Well, that's what you just spoke into existence. Well, how the fuck do you think you're ever going to get unoverwhelmed if you speak to you're going to be overwhelmed over and over? So word is law. And so when God is your word, now once again, this is for me, but when you're in that space, when you're in faith, when you're in word is law, when you are good enough, you will not be denied. When you will stay in it long enough to change the reflex of being overwhelmed, when you stay in consciousness long enough, and you can't fight it, you have to surrender it. So in word is law, surrender has more than one meaning. Surrender is not the white flag. You're not giving up. Surrender in our world is you surrender your ego. You surrender your will to be right. You let go of the struggle trauma bonds that you've held on to for so many years. You let go of waving the flag, the yellow flag, the struggler's hit parade. I'm a fucking struggler, so I'm a noble struggler. Well, there's no nobility in struggling. Struggling is exhausting. It depletes the immune system, the adrenal system, and those who are in control of it all want you to have a very weak immune system. They want your adrenals to be worn out, the lymphatic system to be drained. They want you to consume bad food. They want you to drink alcohol. You know what they want, and you have to lean into it. You have to be your best self. You can't give in to Satan and all the other situations that are going on in the world that are out there to rob you of your emotional freedom. There's a lot at stake right now. There's more at stake right now than any time in not just American history and world history. If you're conscious, you know what's going on. You know the wolf is at the door. But you can't spend your time looking at that. You have to focus your time on being your best self. Focus your energy on production. Focus your energy on results. Focus your energy on empowering yourself. Then you can empower others. Many people have it ass backward. They're going to go out there and help others when they're not empowering themselves. And people aren't looking for help. They're looking for wisdom. They're looking for insight. They're looking for a leader, and you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. If your habits suck, well, how can you attract anyone else? The answer is you can't, because your word is your law. It means you're speaking into existence the same situation over and over to create the same outcome. That's why word is law. And what you communicate, the way you speak, will determine who and what you attract. Now, it's not that simple, but there is context in that. So that doesn't mean if you just say affirmations all day that your world's going to change. However, affirmations, speaking into existence, a new set of circumstances that you commit to create, is one component of that outcome. And when you begin to live your truth, when you begin to speak your truth, when you begin to change your words, when you change your story about the way you've lived, everybody's been victimized, everybody's been traumatized, and everyone has a level of brain fog. Everyone's had their amygdala enlarged, their prefrontal cortex has shrunk, and your hippocampus has shrunk. I mean, that just happens to all of us because we've all been through a series of events that shaped our feelings, traumas. We've all attracted narcissistic people in our circle of influence at times. And if you marry one, date one, well, that's a whole nother developing situation that requires a coaching call if you're in one of these situations. But it's going to be your responsibility, the ability to respond, a reflex, to be able to change the way you communicate with yourself. The biggest lie you've ever been told is you're not good enough. The biggest lie you tell yourself is you're not good enough. When you start to tell the truth that you're good enough, when you start to tell yourself you're capable, when you start to become honest with yourself, when you move into acceptance, when you live in your own integrity, then you can assist other people with it. You can do it concurrently, but if you're not doing it for yourself and you're trying to do it with others, that's the contradiction that you'll end up living in. That is called codependence. That is enabling, over-obligating, doing more for others than you do for yourself. You want to find the space in the middle where you can do it at ease with both, with yourself and with others. When you empower yourself, then you can empower others. And that empowerment that you can create means you elevate yourself, you transcend in consciousness above anxiety, fear, and doubt. When anxiety rules you, and you live in that anxiety because you're scared and worried about the future that hasn't happened, and when you live in mistake consciousness, afraid to make a mistake, when you're worried about what's going to happen, then you're just going to continue to avoid and procrastinate. I wrote a minor bestseller in 2010. The original book was called From Procrastination to Production. I sold that book, and it became a minor bestseller. It was in every Barnes & Noble bookstore for at least 10 years, and it's still in several around the world. It's called The Procrastination Cure. I sold that book and received a small signing bonus, ended up in 4 languages. The book never made me any money. It allowed me to be in a few TV shows and a few radio shows. But what the book was really about was about the procrastinator types and what chronic avoiding is. And so a lot of your communication style is about avoiding. A lot of your communication is about not getting hurt. A lot of your communication is about staying stuck. And this is the way most of the world communicates. You can absolutely change your world by changing your words. Word is law. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. If you do not follow my content, send me a friend request and I will accept. If you follow me, I will not see any of your comments. If you send me a friend request, then I will see your comments and I can comment on your comment. Or if you like the content today, hit the like button and it will put you in my news feed. I host Facebook Lives 7 days a week, every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday at 9 Pacific, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m. All of my Facebook Lives are recorded and available on playback, and you can find them on podcast on my website, goldenmastermind.com. If you are new to my content, I offer free 20-minute coaching sessions. If you've ever considered coaching, you can go up into Facebook Messenger and send me a message. I will respond to you within 24 hours. Thank you very much for being here with me this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I'll be back here on Facebook tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great afternoon, everyone.